walk abroad.
Just for education, actualizing dreams.
For seamless admission and visa processing to study, work, and live abroad, call Jestone Education on 080-94-194-444 or 0909-8919-444. Jestone Education lies career dreams. If you wanna study abroad,
If you need a visa to travel, just for education.
it's all you need. You can study, you can live, you can walk abroad.
Just for education, actualizing dreams.
For seamless admission and visa processing to study, work, and live abroad, call Jestone Education on 080-94-194-444 or 0909-8919-444. Jestone Education, actualizing career dreams. If you wanna study abroad,
If you need a visa to travel, just for education.
it's all you need. You can study, you can live, you can walk abroad.
Just for education, actualizing dreams.
For seamless admission and visa processing to study, work, and live abroad. 080-94-194-444 or 0909-8919-444. Jestone Education.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to Jestone Education's webinar. This is our exclusive webinar where we are going to be touching on every single thing that you need to know regarding studying in the UK in 2026. We've had a previous edition of this session. We had it earlier, some months ago, where we had conversations with students who are looking to study in the UK in 2026. We walked through all the intakes in the UK, walked through the requirements, answered questions, talked about programs that are available, talked about the possibility of obtaining tuition discounts on your program. And there were a lot of questions that we got from that previous session, and we thought it wise to also host a second session to help those of you that are on this call who are looking to study in the UK next year with all the information that you need. This webinar is hosted by Jestone Education. Jestone Education is an international education consulting company. We are licensed representative of schools overseas, over 300 schools in over 30 plus destinations. And we have offices in Abuja, we have offices in Lagos, we have an office also in Uyo. So everything that pertains to your international education, we are well licensed to help you process it and to help you with whatever concerns or questions that you have. We are going to be going into today's session shortly, but just to confirm, I like to do this in every of our session. Can you confirm that you can hear me? If you can hear me, please, I want you to drop your favorite emoji in the chat. The chat is open for everyone to be able to drop messages. If you can hear me, you can drop a chat. You can react with, yes, I can see a reaction from Evie. If you're ready for today's session, you have questions that you want to be answered, you are excited about the information we are going to be giving, I want you to just, yes, that's it. I can see a response from Redmi. I can see a response from Victor Justin as well. I can see a response from Opeyemi, Harry Monday, Kenneth. Awesome. Awesome. So we're expecting more people to join into today's session. I can see another response in the chat as well. We're expecting more people to join in today's session. So we are going to be starting shortly, but just before we do that, like I said, this webinar is hosted exclusively by Jeston Education. So, and I just explained what we do in helping students who are looking to, to progress with their international education in other countries overseas. We help you manage that entire process. Today, we're going to be having our country business manager speak to us regarding everything you need to know, from requirements to programs that are available to how you access tuition discounts. What are the things you should know when it comes to visa? We are also going to be having a session where we take questions. So if your question is not answered during the course of the webinar, please do not fret. We are going to give a session. We are going to give an opportunity for you to ask that question. You can ask us that question physically. We are also we have one of our students on the call today that we placed in the just concluded intake. We're also going to be having a conversation with him just to get a feel of what his experience like working with Jeston, making the journey to the UK. We're just going to get all that information that is required and that is going to help you in this journey. We have already on the call, we have our country business manager on the call. I'm going to be asking her to come up now, even as we get started. Please, if during the course of the webinar you have any question, please feel free to drop it in the chat. When she's done speaking, we are going to be attending to questions. We want to keep this swift, we want to keep this really on point, so we hit the nail on the head and we don't waste anybody's time. Good afternoon, Ma.
Hi, good afternoon, Benaya, and good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Ma. Nice to have you join us. So we can get started so we keep to time and we go right into the meat of today.
Okay, so this webinar is strictly, managed by Jeston Education, and what we do, Benaya had already mentioned earlier, assisting with the application process, ensuring that you pick the right option as a student, counseling, putting you through the right process from application to visa application, post-application support, and all of that. So I'm going to be starting with the application process generally. So I'm sure we have a mixed crowd here where we have some undergraduate, postgraduate students. So I'm just going to touch on each part of the application process for each session. So I'm starting with the undergraduate application process. Application process is quite straightforward for undergraduate students. Now, we're not just focusing on just the UK. There are other destinations that also have their general intake. There's Ireland, there's Canada that has general intake. However, for some destinations like Canada, you must have applied earlier than now for a general intake. So you might be looking at other destinations if you're not looking at the UK. So for application process for undergraduate, usually most universities would prefer an undergraduate student to be at least 16, going to 17, and some universities would even say you have to be 18 to be able to apply to their university. However, there are universities that can fit everybody's age bracket. So, of course, that's what we'll be doing when we have a one-on-one session with you to discuss, possible universities, and that's where the counseling comes in. So it's not just picking a school, it's also knowing if you fit the entry requirements as regards your age. Now, another thing to note, of course, you need an international passport. Every student needs an international passport. That's one of the very essential documents to be able to apply with. An international passport, at least 6 months valid to the time of your start date. So, for example, after your start date, for example, you're starting in January, your international passport must be valid till up to July. So you're expecting at least another 6 months validity on your international passport. So for those who have a passport that is expiring soon, you might want to go and start getting a renewal done. And for those who already have a passport that is valid, thumbs up to you. You're one step away from your application. Now, the next thing you need that is very important is your academic results. Now, for undergraduate students, it could be start from your high school results. So for those who have gone through high school, your year 12, that's your SS3. And I know a lot of schools, by the time you're done with your SS3, you're writing your WAEC, you're writing your SATs, you're writing IGCSE, you might be taking an A-level course here in Nigeria. Whatever the case may be, basic entry requirements for international students, especially Nigerians for all the destinations, is your WAEC. So if you have a WAEC result or a NECO result, you're good to go. However, some schools can, ask you, you might want to provide your IGCSE. That's if you have not written a WAEC, you might want to provide IGCSE and other documents like your undergraduate transcript as well. Then you might be considered also, with your age as well. So now to the details of what your results should look like. For international students, English language is very important. So you must not have anything less than a C6 in your English language. Some courses require that you have mathematics, and one of those courses is nursing. They expect that you have in maths, at least a C4 in maths. So if you want to do nursing, any of the health courses, really, mental health nursing, child nursing, adult nursing, you would be required to have a C4 in maths. And then every other subject can follow, but you need to have basic math and English. And then for every other subject, so some students can take biology, take some other subject like math and English is compulsory for some courses. However, if you don't have math, but you have English, for some courses, you can also be considered for admission. Why some, they'll ask you to go and get a math result for that. But that's going to be on a personal basis when we're doing the counseling, when you're looking at where you want to study. So next, what you need to get is also your scratch card. And sometimes people ask us, why do I need to provide the scratch card? Why do I need to provide the scratch card? Of course, we know that a lot of fake results are flying here and there. So most times the university would want to verify if this certificate you have provided is genuine. We have had cases where students provide a certificate that is not genuine, and when they go and verify, it does not exist. In such a case, the students have to forfeit their fees that they've paid and all of that. So you want to ensure that everything you're doing is genuine and you're a very straight to the point student, and not trying to find your way in a very wrong way. So we want to verify your results as well. So for undergraduates, what you need: your international passport, your certificate, your WAEC scratch card, and a CV. So a CV, some people say, oh, undergraduate, what do I need a CV for? You actually need a CV. A CV is not just for you to apply for a job. A CV tells us about you. So for example, you send your document, I can see, oh, this is where this person stays, this is this person's email address, this is this person's phone number, these are the schools that this person have attended, achievements that this person have, all those things that the school can, look at and consider you for an admission. It's not just, oh, I have a good result. You have a good result, but you must be able to express yourself on your CV. So that's why we need a CV for an undergraduate. So if you have any questions regarding anything I mentioned, you can just put them on the chat, and then I would respond to them as we go by. Benaya, you can also look at those questions for me, and you can stop me in between to see where I can go back to. So for postgraduate application, also it's straightforward. Of course, for postgraduate, we have different types of postgraduate students. Now, there's the postgraduate of HND holders, BSc holders, and then master's holders. So for HND holders, as looking to do a master's program. Of course, with HND, we have a bit of concerns with HND, Higher National Diploma, because when it comes to the academic level, HND is a level 5 and a BSc is a level 6. So you can't really compare the two. So that's why a lot of universities might not take an HND holder for a direct master's. However, all hope is not lost. That's why we're here. Applications can still go in for some schools that would accept HND for a master's. And then you could take other options. So if they wouldn't take you for a master's, maybe because of your grade or you don't have the years of experience that they're looking for, you could also consider other options. There's top up, there's also postgraduate PGD. You can also take a pre-master's. You can also take advanced diploma in some cases other than the UK. Some destinations, you can take an advanced diploma for an HND holder. Now, to the BSc holder looking at doing a master's, most universities require that you have at least a 2-1 or a 2-2 to be able to do a master's. And for some students who have a third class, some schools will consider you for a master's. However, they might require that you have a bit of work experience to be able to, talk about why you should be considered for an admission, even though you don't have the right results, why should we consider you? Maybe you're an older student, you graduated like 20 years or 10 years ago, you had the third class, you have extensive work experience, and you are, a professional in your line of work. All those kind of things can be considered in some cases, but usually case by case base. So it's not like we are guaranteeing you 100% that you would get an admission from, having a third class, but it can be considered if you have extensive years of experience. And then there's the master's holders who, considering to do a PhD program. So for PhD programs, of course, you need a bachelor's degree and a master's degree to be able to apply for a PhD. PhD can run from 3 years to 5 years. It's strictly research program. So what that means is that you'll be assigned to a researcher, and then you guys work concurrently. So the admission requirement for postgraduates, for a master's, you need your international passport, you need your CV, you need your bachelor's degree certificate and transcript. You need a statement of purpose. What's a statement of purpose? A statement of purpose is an essay that talks about why you want to study a particular course. What are your plans after your studying? Why do you want to come to study at this university? Why do you want to study in the UK? Those are the things that are expected to write in your statement of purpose. Usually around 500 words. You could write more than that, but a minimum of 500 words to be able to express your interest to the university, and they consider that as part of your application. Now, another document you need is your a reference letter. So reference letter, usually we advise our students to provide 2 references, and that's one for academic and one for work experience. Not all schools require 2 reference, but we usually ask you to provide that because sometimes some schools will say, "Oh, we need an academic reference." Another school can say, "Oh, we need a work reference." So you need to, at least if you have the 2 of them, you can work with any one that is required, as the case may be. Now, for students now going to do a PhD, additional document to what I just mentioned is a research proposal. Students that have done masters would understand when you say a research proposal. And also if you have done a BSc, because of course you wrote projects, that's, you writing your interest on what you want to research on. And that's what they use to consider to give you an admission for a PhD. We also have other interests like, MRes, students who wants to do MRes. you also need a research proposal in some cases to be able to proceed. All right, Benaya, I can take questions now.
All right. So I'm looking through the charts. We have a couple of questions. So I would ask you the question. I'll read the question out so you can attend to it.
Okay.
Okay. Olatunji Oluwatise is asking, can I get a scholarship to study nursing abroad when I just finished high school?
Okay, so studying nursing is a great option. But when it comes to scholarship, I'm also going to come to that part, for this presentation. Scholarships are highly competitive. It's not like you can't get a scholarship. However, they're highly competitive. There are so many requirements for, a scholarship. Usually, undergraduate, I won't say there's an 100% chance you would get a scholarship because most universities are specific in some scholarship that they're awarding. So, for example, you can go to a university website and you see scholarship for a particular course. So it's not like there's an open scholarship for undergraduates. No. And it's not like it runs concurrently every year. So most times those scholarships are just open like a once in a lifetime opportunity and these scholarships are given by individuals. So for example, Benaya is giving a scholarship and is coming to my university asking for me to, get the best students that want to study nursing. Of course, we'll put the application, that information on the website and say, oh, Benaya Nursing Scholarships, and then students can apply. So it's highly competitive, but it doesn't mean that you can get it. So 100% we can't tell you you will get it. And we do not do scholarship applications for students. Most times students come and say, oh, I want a scholarship, but you're not willing to put in the work. There's a lot of work that goes into getting a scholarship. There are applications that needs to be done if you want to get a scholarship from the university, and there are usually a direct application to the university. So you are, submitting your application to the university. However, before you're able to do that, they would require that you get an admission first before you're able to apply for a scholarship. So because you cannot apply to a university scholarship and you do not have a reference. So they require that you get an admission first before you're able to proceed to submit your scholarship application. Now, there are other types of scholarships. I think let me just touch on all the scholarship questions here. There are other types of scholarships for postgraduate, undergraduate. There are government scholarships. So Nigerian government, I know we have different types of scholarships in Nigeria. There's the NDDC, there's the PTDF. There are also company-based scholarships like Shell, Chevron, the top mobile, the top companies that provide scholarships for students to study abroad. And not just like a roadside company, giving you a scholarship letter, not those ones. We're talking about top organizations that are government recognized. So you can try the NDDC, you can try the PTDF, you can also try, Shell, Mobile. When you see their scholarship adverts, you can always apply. And then there's also the university scholarship, which I just mentioned. Usually you will be required to have an admission before you're able to apply to a university scholarship. So that's where the agent comes in. We're able to assist you to get an admission. You get an admission and then you can file in for your scholarship application. Do you have any other question regarding scholarship?
Yeah, so I think there are a couple of other questions regarding scholarships. Can I get a scholarship for medicine? But I think that basically touches on all of that. So I think what I'll add is that some of our partner schools as well, like you mentioned, it's competitive. But those that have good grades, some of our partner schools offer some merit-based tuition discounts. So that's definitely something that they can look out for. So I'm looking through.
Yeah.
You want to touch on that, Ma?
Yes, for the discounts. So for example, you have a university say their tuition is 15,000, and we've had cases where universities bring down the tuition in some cases for some students. Maybe you have a first class, you have a 2-1, a very high 2-1. They bring down the fees from 15,000, say, to 10,000 or 11,000 based on discounts that they give for specific grades. So you can also use that as an opportunity to get some form of, I won't say scholarship, I'll call it a discount.
All right, so there's a question here. Is it only WAEC results? So I think this person is probably maybe not from Nigeria. They are trying to ask if it's only WAEC results that is accepted. Or maybe they have another result, maybe NECO or something.
Okay, so for maybe this person is trying to ask regarding undergraduate. So for undergraduate program, yes, it's just your WAEC. There's some cases where you must have done like an advanced diploma or you have a national diploma. You can still get in for an undergraduate. You might just be coming in at like a year 1 or year 2, as the case may be, you know, as the university, looks at your document and they're able to fit you in for a particular course. But for undergraduates, yes, it's just a WAEC result as the academic documents that you need and a scratch card to be able to verify your results.
All right. Somebody is asking, good afternoon, Miss Mary. Please, what are the requirements for computer science as a major course?
Okay, so I'm going to answer these questions 2 ways. I don't know, maybe it's for undergraduate or postgraduate, but I'm going to answer that for undergraduate. So for computer science as a major course, like I said, part of documenting very important, your international passport, your WAEC results. On your WAEC results, we expect you to have a minimum of C6 in your math, in your English, some form of computing courses. I know some high schools now are doing like IT courses, information technology. You can also have your physics because it's a STEM course. So for a STEM course, they expect you to have mathematical skills. So you need your maths, you need your physics. If you're able to do further mathematics, great. If not, but at least you need a minimum of 5 credits. So I mentioned maths, English, IT course. If you can add your physics and then one more subject, you're good to go for undergrad.
But you want to touch on postgrad as well? So I think
Yes,
that
for
was
postgraduates, computer science is a STEM course. Now, there's something called a conversion. So, for example, I studied financial management, BSc, and I want to do computer science. Maybe because of my work experience, I've started working in a place that has to do with IT or computing, and I want to do computer science as a master's program. It's called a conversion course. That means you're moving from one particular field to another field. What that means is that you're going to be having a longer time to finish. A master's program in the UK, for example, is 1 year. If you're doing a conversion course, you'll be spending 2 years to do a conversion course. That means you'll be taking a 1-year course to be able to proceed to the next main master's course so that they're not bombarding you with information that your head cannot carry and then you fail. So they are setting you up for, success. That's why it's called a conversion course. You do 1 year elementary in the computing before you move to the main master's course. So you need to have, computer science as a background course. People who finish from a STEM course background, so either you did physics, computing, mathematics, you did statistics, you did any of the engineering courses, you should be able to do computer science. Any of the STEM courses, you should be able to do computer science as a master's program. But if you're coming from a different background, from maybe a business background or a health background, and you want to do computing, you might be considered for a conversion course.
all right, man. So there's a question here. Good afternoon, ma'am. What are the contents supposed to be in the CV? So
Okay,
this person is asking what you show in the CV.
Yeah. So for the CV, basic information, your name, your email address. We always have issues with email address. I don't know why people always put the wrong email address on their CV, but you need to ensure that your CV has the right email address. Your name, your email address, your phone number, you went to Queen's College, you put that information and the year you graduated, and then maybe you have some achievements. You won the Olympiad for Nigeria 2025. You put that in your application. Just all your achievements, your background, your work experience, if you have any. But if you don't have any work experience, especially for the undergraduate, you can scrap that part and then just your school, your academic background, and then the achievements that you have and your skills. So I think some parts that people miss out in the application are skills. Most times, when you put the information a skill, it gives the university an idea of what you're capable of doing, especially for an undergraduate student. They see that you have a mental capacity to be able to take a particular course or maybe take a particular field. So that's what you need on a CV. Benaya, are you here?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I was mute. So there's another question here. So we actually have a lot of questions regarding scholarships. So I'm just trying to, since you've already attended to it, I'm just trying to skip it. Okay, so there's a question here from Favor. I want to study law, LLB. What are the requirements? Even though I'm a high school graduate, can you please recommend any university that I can that I can apply to? How many years does the course take? And can you estimate how much the tuition fees would be? Did you get that, ma?
Okay. Yes, I'm even looking at the question. So I want to study LLB. What are the requirements, even though I'm a high school graduate? Okay. So for high school graduates, there are different ways you can get into the university. There's something called a foundation program. So, for example, you finished this year, you wrote your WAEC, and you have all your credits, and you're looking at studying LLB in this instance. There are some schools that will consider you for a direct year one, and there are conditions to that. Now, I'm going to say for the UK, now I'm speaking for the UK because some other destinations you cannot study law directly. The UK, yes, you can't take LLB directly. There are conditions to you getting a direct year one. A UK university program is 3 years for a BSc, except in some cases for engineering and some other advanced courses. But 3 years program, you can get into year one. If your WAEC result is outstanding, so what I mean outstanding, you have A's and you have B's, you can get into a direct year one LLB. And when you are of the right age, please, they can consider you for year one. So for example, you're 18, you have 7 A's and 2 B's, or you have two A's and 7 B's. You can't be considered for year one LLB. But if you don't have that, you can be considered for a foundation year. Now, the foundation year is to prepare the students and usually I would suggest for an undergraduate student to take a foundation year. Why? Because you're going to a different education system. And that gives you an opportunity to be able to adjust into that environment. I know a lot of parents usually want the student to skip a foundation year because of cost. However, it's always advisable, especially when you're still young. Maybe you're not 18 yet, you are 16, you just finished high school. Would advise you to take a foundation course. that will give you enough time to be able to, grow into the education system. You also grow mentally, prepare yourself psychologically to be able to enter into a year one finally, and then you're able to, apply, start your course. So you're asking for recommendation on universities. Of course, we'll need to have that discussion one-on-one. So you can speak with your counselor, the person who called you for this session. He or she would explain to you how to apply and suggest universities based on your budget. How many years does the course take? Okay, so I mentioned 3 years if you're getting into year one, and if you're taking foundation, it's entirely for 4 years. Tuition fee estimates for undergraduate program, tuition fee can range anywhere from £12,000 to 20,000 pounds. So depending on what you can afford, there are different types of university, and then you can choose based on your budget or the budget of your parents. All right, Benai, I think I have answered the question.
Yes, ma'am. So there's
Okay.
also another question here. Can I get to study aerospace engineering? But before you answer that, I wanted to just speak to what you had said. So for each and every one of us that got the link to join the webinar, your assigned gesture advisor was the one that sent the link to you. So for specific questions regarding, how do I begin the application process? Would they have this particular course? Can I get a school recommendation? Your assigned advisor is going to be handling all of that for you. So they're going to be getting in touch with you after this webinar to give you school options that you could consider, and then we can then proceed and make applications for you to those schools. So I just wanted to make that clear so that we are well informed. So for specific questions regarding programs, we might not touch on it because the advisor would have to get you those school options so that you can consider for us to make application. So the next question that we have here is, can you please enlighten me more on the statement of purpose document? What does it entail?
Okay, so like I mentioned, the statement of purpose is an essay that briefly talks about you and why you want to take a particular course and why you want to study at the university. So 5 major key things to cover in your statement of purpose. A brief introduction. So the first paragraph is talking about yourself, introduction about yourself, your academic achievements, and work experience, as the case may be. And then when you're done with that, you're talking about why you want to take the course. So why you want to take the course is very important. That's what you talk about in the next paragraph. The third part is to talk about why the university. So for example, I'm going to Leeds University, for example, you need to talk about why you want to study at the university. The fourth one is why you want to study in the UK or wherever country you have chosen. You need to mention why you have chosen that country. And finally, the last paragraph is talking about what you intend to do when you graduate. So what are your expectations when you're done with the program? Are you looking to start a business? Are you looking to get employed? If you're looking to get employed, where are you looking to get employed at? All those things, they expect you to be able to write that down in your statement of purpose, minimum of 500 words.
All right, that's very clear. So there's another question here on requirements for medicine, accountancy. So I'm just keeping those questions because I already explained the procedure that would go to addressing those questions. I have a degree in public health, graduated with a 2-2. Can you advise me on how to go about studying masters? And the expenses are just too much. How do we go about that? Did you get that question,
Okay, yeah, I think I'm seeing that question. How to go about my study masters and the expenses. Okay, so unfortunately, of course, tuition fee is very important. And that's why when you're speaking with your counselor, you need to come out plain. First things you need to tell us is what are your expectations? Of course, studying abroad is not cheap. That's just the truth. It's not cheap. We know that it's not cheap. So you need to tell us, oh, I'm looking at a school that's not beyond this particular amount. This is what I'm looking at in terms of fee. And then your counselor will be able to, look at options for you and give you an experienced advice on where to start and what options are. I would require you to make some payments, an initial deposit, and then maybe they spread your installments for you, maybe 2 times or 3 times or 5 times as the case may be. So at this point, this is what your counselor does for you. So you have to speak with, your assigned advisor, and then we're able to, advise further.
All right, ma'am. So regarding questions also regarding recommending schools, we'll also leave that as well to your advisor. Like I already mentioned, they are going to be giving you those school recommendations. Redmi 10C is asking if NECO is accepted. You want to speak to that, ma'am?
Yes. So basic exams that are, vital in Nigeria. I know a lot of people go to schools that, they get to write SATs, IGCSE and all of that. But our basic, exams here, recognized, government approved, internationally recognized, types of exams are WAEC and NECO. So WAEC and NECO is accepted anywhere in the world when you want to apply. I know some people go as far as asking about NABTEC, just in case we get that kind of question. NABTEC is not yet globally accepted. So you can't take NABTEC. You say, oh, Nigerian school took NABTEC. No, it doesn't apply that way abroad. So basic 2 exams that are very globally recognized, WAEC and JONECO. So let me add also GCE, because I know some people write GCE. GCE is organized by WAEC. So it's organized by the WASI, which is the West African Association of Council of Exams. So it's still WAEC. So GCE, WAEC, and NECO.
All right, ma'am. So I'm looking through, okay, there's a question here from Teresa. Teresa, how many years is MRS?
Okay, so for MRS courses, it's specific to university. Some schools is 1 year, some is 2 years, some 3 years. We've seen 3 years, especially for those doing research, proper research, like science-based research, can be 3 years. But anything from 1 year, 2 years, MRS.
I'm looking through to see there are quite a number of program-specific questions. There are questions regarding GC.
I can see one regarding medicine in the UK. Yes, you can study medicine in the UK. However, it's very expensive. It's not cheap. So you're talking about tuition fee from about £45,000 per year. And the entry requirement is highly competitive. And you must do your A-levels abroad. So we recommend you to do it abroad. You can do it in Nigeria, but we recommend you to do your A-levels in the UK because they prepare you for the entrance level interview for medicine. So you have to do your A-levels. Once you're done with your A-levels is 2 years. Once you're done with your A-levels, you pass your entrance exam for medical school. Once you're able to pass, you're moving to a medical school, and then you spend another 6 years.
Thank you so much, Ma. We still have a couple of questions coming in, but like I shared at the start of the meeting, we have one of our Justin ambassadors currently studying in the UK in University of Plymouth. He's currently studying LLM law, and we helped him with his application process. He's on the call, and he would have to be dropping off by 4. So I would want us to just have a quick chat with him, so that we can release him, so that he can attend to what he needs to attend to. Victor, if you're on the call, please, can you unmute? Hi, Victor.
Hello, Benign. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How is the weather today?
Damn cold. I think it's like 10 degrees outside. Oh, yeah. And see, I'm geared up. My ears, everything is crazy.
How has it been? So we wouldn't want to keep you for so long. Just have a quick chat.
Mm.
How's it been so far settling into the UK? When did you travel?
I left on the 30th of August. I arrived in the UK on the 1st of September 2025.
Okay, so that's about 2 months now.
Yeah,
About 2 months in the UK.
roughly.
So how's it been settling in? What's the experience been like?
Well, of course, there's been some culture shocks and a lot of other things, but I would say it's been not too bad. Um, I had been prepared for this for quite a while, thanks to Amelia, Mikalim, who works with you people. You know, she's told me certain things that I found really helpful getting to the UK. In fact, from the beginning of the whole process till right now, it's been really, really, I think I found everything really blissful. I mean, I've not really had a shock like, oh, I didn't expect this. From the application process to the new thing they do now, the proof of funds thing. I mean, where you question, you have like an interview, and all that. So everything has been wonderful and something I've always I saw coming and prepared for because of course the help of Just Stone Education. So yeah, it's been good.
So we have some persons on the call they're still kind of in that decision phase, trying to decide, should I commit to this, should I not commit to this? What would you say to them?
Well, I was once there. Like, if you ask Amelia, she would, Amelia is one of the most gentle people or person I've ever spoken to in my life. She soothed me into the whole process with ease because I had my doubts. I'm not going to lie. I had my doubts when I was starting the whole process. I was like, But really, in fact, the first place I saw Just Stone Education, I was on social media. I was like, I reached out. And one hot afternoon, somebody called me on the phone. I was like, hey, am I speaking to Victor? I was like, yes. Who is this? And it was Amelia. She became my the direct contact I had with Just Stone. She helped me through the whole process, gave me a list of schools like, oh, this is the program I wanted to go for. And funny, it wasn't just me that came to the UK. I came with my sister. So both of us came in within the same period. My elder sister, she's running her program, and I'm running my program. So imagine two people coming at the same time. So it was quite a lot period for me. But Emilia spoke to me and told me, okay, do this, do that, do this. And so far, so good. It has been great. She helped through Just Stone. Just Stone actually helped me begin the process. Had a lot of schools, had a lot of options, because I'm running the program in law, Masters of Laws, because I had my LLB back home in Nigeria. Like the person I was asking about LLB program, it's quite a wonderful one. So I had done my LLB back home, so I was looking for a Masters of Laws over here. So I had a lot of options: Nottingham Trent, University of Plymouth, a whole lot that I had secured via Just Stone Education, and I picked Plymouth, and it has been a wonderful thing. Yeah, so.
All right. So last question just before we release you. What would you say, what would be your feedback regarding Just Stone Education service overall? And would you recommend it to those that are on the call?
Definitely. My cousins, I've already linked them up to Just Stone Education already. So that should tell you everything. Like, I'm here, my sister is here. We came in together. So that's enough testimony. I wouldn't, I mean, if you speak to Amelia, she'll tell you I have already contacted her concerning my cousins intending to move to not just the UK. I would say a lot of other countries, Canada, Malta, Europe generally, So it's a wonderful experience. Sometimes I had my doubts. Is this going to put? And I realized, in fact, the period when I applied for the visa and had done a biometric, I was waiting for the visa. I was so tensed up because I had someone call me, somebody that, applied, and I think the agency called me. I was like, oh, they didn't make it. My heart skipped a beat. Like, Emilia received it hot that period. I'm sure her phone. I called her, I was like, she's like, Victor, just calm down. Don't listen to all that. And a few days after that, mine came out, my sisters came out, and I'll say Just Stone Education, like for what is what, I could stand anywhere and everywhere and say, Justin Education is a wonderful enterprise. I would not question that. Initially when I saw the whole prospect of somebody applying for, and I've heard a lot of things about agencies, and I had my doubts, but then, working with you people firsthand was one of the best experiences I've ever had in my life, and I would not change that for anything. Never.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you so much. We would have to release you now so you can attend to what you have to attend to. Thank you so much for making our time to join us today. All right, have a wonderful day.
Bye.
You've heard straight from one of our latest clients currently in the UK, barely 2 months in, and I don't have to say any much more. I don't have to say any much more. I don't have to add anything to that. You've heard straight from his mouth. So if you have doubts, whatever doubts you have, whatever concerns you have, please feel free to speak with us. We've got advisors that are experts. They know what they are doing and they know how to handle whatever situation it is that you might currently be in. So please do well to contact us, reach out to us, and we are going to be working closely with you to ensure that your dreams of studying abroad, they come to pass in 2026. So we are going to be going on a quick short break, 2-minute max. We're going to be back, take the last sets of questions, and then we're going to wrap this up. Tosin, over to you.
So much, Justin Education, for the support that you gave me during my application to Ashton University in the UK. It was really helpful, made the process really stress-free and very great. So to everyone out there who is looking to study the UK, trust me, Justin Education is the place to go. It is the place to go.
I want to say a very brief thank you to Justin Education for the wonderful work they did from my application process down to my arrival at the UK. About leaving today, the 31st of August 2025 to London. Like, everything was socially free. I couldn't even believe when I heard it was free. I was like, free? But then, I can testify today that Justin Education, are the very best. They took care of my entire process, from admissions to inquiries to visa application, down to even my arrival in the UK, to the booking of my flight, every single thing. So I would recommend them any day, anytime. A big shout out to Justin.
Hello, my name is Amina, and I'm currently a student of Anglia Ruskin University, the London campus. I'm studying MSc in Accounting and Financial Management. And during the course of my application, I used the service of Justin Education, and they were really, really helpful, right from helping me to choose my school, to my course of study, to try and to help me get my cards, my visa application, everything. They were very detailed. They were very detailed in the formation, and all I had to do was just go through my details and make sure that they correspond. Especially during my class, getting my class. It was really a tough process because I was already reaching the deadline. They were, helping me to make sure that I get my class early. So I would like to recommend Justin Education to you also. Thank you.
Hi guys, I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to Justin Education for helping me through my visa process, from helping me to get admission to my visa is out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Guys, today I'm in the class having my lectures, all thanks to Justin Education. So if you want to travel to any country for your study, please make sure you contact Justin Education. Thank you.
Listen, the truth is this. I think last year was actually the best year for me that could have traveled. If I had missed it that last year, I wouldn't be here today. And God, just in His own way, used you guys for me, because there are a lot of agents that have them. And one of the reasons that make me that give me the assurance that I didn't miss my time, I was the first among my colleagues to finish paying the school fees. I paid 3.5 from Nigeria. I got a car in the first 6 months in UK, not just a car, a Mercedes Benz. Everything was just working for me. Favor from the YT. Even school, they make me student reps. You know, I can't complete the book of my life without mentioning you guys. I really want to say thank you. I really want to say thank you. If not for I've forgotten her name that keep talking to me because oh my goodness. I'm still going to have a way of say thank you and I appreciate the fact that I am where I am today. To you. You are the pencil, you are the pen, you are the paper that God used to write my life and I will always and be forever be grateful to that.
Hello.
All right, thank you so much, Tosin. So you've just heard physically from Victor, and you've also heard digitally from other people that have used their services. If you need any more proof, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Soma, we're going to take the last few questions that we have so we can wrap up today's session. There's a question here from Techno. Is there any school we can get around 3 million to 4 million for undergraduates? Doesn't need specified currency, but I'm guessing Naira.
Okay, yes, of course, that should be Naira because I think that's the lowest currency we are talking about here. So 3 million, 4 million Naira on tuition. I don't think you can get any university in the top schools abroad. So for example, like the UK, Canada, Ireland, US, Australia, you can't get schools there for that amount. However, there are other countries. We have other countries in other partner universities, other countries like Mauritius. We have Malta that have lower fees. So sometimes their own fees can be like maybe $6,000, $8,000 per year. So that 4 million Naira might be able to get you to pay some part of the fees, but it might not cover the entire fee. So that's just being truthful with you. You might want to up the budget a bit if you're looking to study abroad, or you might want to consider other lower destinations.
All right, there's also a question here. Please, Ma, I want to study public relations and advertising, PRA, and I want to go for undergraduate. I have my NECO result. It is very good, and I would love to go to any of the Shanghai countries with low tuition, please, without IELTS. Person added without IELTS.
Okay. I'm sure we have some partner schools that might not require you to write IELTS for any of the Schengen countries. However, majority of the Schengen countries would require you to write IELTS. So put that at the back of your mind. But please speak with the counselor that has called you for this session, and I'm sure they'll be able to advise you on a school that would not require IELTS.
All right, speaking of counselor, there's a question here. So I think I'll just speak to that. What are some of the things my counselor will help me with? Because I want to start a procedure immediately, but I'm 17 years old. So in addition to what Miss Mary just mentioned, the counselor is going to be working with you. They're going to be advising you, first of all. I mean, there are intricacies with these applications that a lot of students actually do not know anything about. So they're going to be letting you in on these intricacies to ensure that you are not making any mistakes, first of all. They are also going to be helping you with the application process, the entire process from start through to finish, getting you school recommendations, vetting your documents to ensure that every single thing is in place, helping you ensure that the personal statements, if you're writing research proposals, whatever the case is, ensuring that it meets the standard that these schools are looking for. They're going to help you put in your application, help you get an offer, help you understand the offer. If you have any confusions regarding that, we'll clarify it for you. They're also going to be helping you. We have a dedicated visa team that is going to be helping you with your entire visa application process. So from start through to finish, we are working closely with you, helping you with the visa application, helping you with information that is requisite so that you do not have a visa refusal, a ban, or all of those complications. And when it's time for you to travel as well, we are going to be helping you with pre-departure counseling so you know exactly what to expect. Travel support, helping you ensure that you booked your accommodation. I mean, this is just a concise summary of all of the support we are going to be giving to you from start through to finish. So just to answer your question, Favor, and for anyone on the call as well that is asking, oh, what is the advisor going to do for me? This is just a concise summary of what our expert advisors do for you. There's also another question here on, do you cover other countries? Yes, we do. We partner with schools in over 30 plus countries: USA, Canada, Australia, Ireland, Turkey, Spain, the UK, Germany. We have a lot of schools in over 30 plus countries, so you have nothing to worry about. So there's one more question here, Ma. I think this would be the last question before we take your final comments. I want to study dentistry in Australia, but I don't know of any school there.
Okay, so dentistry is still part of a medical course. Australia also is like the US and also Canada, where you cannot take courses like that directly. You have to do like a pre-medical course before you're able to apply for those courses. So for example, you take a pre-med course, maybe biosciences for 4 years, and then when you're done, you're able to take the medical course that you want to take for another period before you're able to completely say you're a doctor. So for Australia, that's the process. But I'm sure your assigned counselor is going to reach out to you and advise you further. If you're still looking at doing medicine, there are other destinations or other options you can look at where you can get in directly. And then there's a final question here. How is the tuition fee paid? Usually, institution fee is paid directly to the university. We always explain to the students to let them know that you pay directly to the university, and there's a reason for that. Usually, in cases where you have a refusal, or maybe you can't proceed with the university anymore due to any reason, when the fee is going to be refunded back to you, it's paid directly into the account that was paid. So, for example, if we use Benaya's account to pay for Benaya's school fees, the money is refunded back into Benaya's account. It will not be refunded into any other person's account. So you want to make sure that you are paying your fees by yourself, for yourself. And the universities have also made it very easy. They have made other payment platform where you can pay in any currency. So if you have uncles, aunties that want to help you to pay, yes, you can. I see a question here on Oxford, Harvard University, top universities, do you cover? So top universities do not need an agent to do applications for them. In fact, they have limited application slots. So, for example, they might say they are not taking more than 10 students for a particular class. And there's nothing in this world that can change that. So they don't require an agent to do applications for them. So they take their applications directly because they take time to see those applications. It's not just submitting an application. You even get to do an interview to be able to get in. They have the kind of students they are, expecting. So top schools like Harvard, Oxford, you are going to be applying for yourself directly. So, Benaya, do you want me to give my final thoughts, or you still want me to touch on any question?
Yes, ma'am. So I think you can go on. So a final question just came in. Can there be any situation where the student is being rejected? So I think you can touch this and then give your final.
Yeah. There are cases where the student is rejected. Maybe at application stage or at visa stage. There are many cases where a student can be rejected. Maybe the student didn't do the interview well, or documents provided were fraudulent, or they couldn't verify your documents, and all of that. Those are reasons. This person is saying your universities are recognized. Of course, our universities are highly recognized, but there are different categories of university, like I mentioned. there are Russell Group universities, and then there are like the top universities. So if you look at Russell Group universities, you're talking in the league of the first 110 in the UK. You're talking about Oxford. You're talking about University of Birmingham. Those universities are Russell Group universities. And there are some universities amongst the Russell Group that agents are allowed to place applications to. And there are some that they do not need an agent to do applications for them. And that is because they have a limited number of students that they want to take and the kind of students that they are looking for. So they are not looking for students who are of a particular kind. So they always have their, their kind of students that they're looking forward to. So, and somebody's asking about proof of funds. No, we do not assist with proof of funds. We allow our students to get their proof of funds from wherever they want to get it. We do not assist with proof of funds. Tuition fee can be paid in installments. Yes, in cases, some schools would allow you to pay in installments. Maybe 2 installments, 3 installments, 4 installments, 5 installments, and even as far as 7 installments. Some schools will allow that. Between UK and US, which one is easier to enter? Of course, right now there's a lot of issues with the US immigrations. They're tightening their borders and their checks more in recent times. So you find out that you don't have a lot of students getting in for a US application. However, there's still students who get in. A UK application is much easier because it's a point-based system. It's not the regular visa application where somebody is looking at your document and making decisions. UK application is point-based. You get your CAS, you have a particular point, you have your proof of fund, you have a particular point, you're able to provide some documents, you have a particular point. So before you know it, even before you start your application, it's okay. This person is asking again about our university. Our universities are recognized. I'm going to point that again. They are recognized universities. At what point do you negotiate payment plan? That's up to the university. So usually when the student gets an offer and makes their payment, they are able to, get their CAS. That's in the case of the UK, you get your CAS, apply for your visa. For other destinations, you're able to get, for Canada, you get your PAL, you're able to apply for your visa and proceed to the next stage. Then your payment plan, you'll be talking about that when you resume school. So most times payment plan are usually given to the student by the finance team of the university. And it's usually when you resume school, so you can schedule your payments plan. Which is better, undergraduate abroad or master's abroad? Really, we can't answer this for you. These are personal based, questions. When you say, which is better, to live on the island or to live on the mainland? For some people, preference might be, of, importance. I might want to stay abroad because I want to have, the experience. And somebody saying, oh, no, I don't want to stay abroad because I'm okay here in Nigeria. So it's a preference question. So you can decide that for yourself. Can someone living in the UK help to pay my fees? Yes, of course you can have someone, but please make sure that whoever is paying your fees for you is a trusted person. We've had cases of fraud where people, send money to someone to make payment for them, and these payments are not done, or the payments are made, and then the person that made the payment withdraws the payments, and then the school is coming back to the student and say, oh, you said you made this payment, we can't find this payment or something like that. So make sure that the person that is paying for you is a trusted person. I think we have answered all the question. LLM in the UK is 1 year.
Okay, so I think we have touched on most of the questions. Final remarks, Ma, then we close out.
Okay, so final remarks for those who are looking at.
Please, if you have any further questions, your advisors are going to be getting in touch with you. So even if your question is not answered right here on the call, you can always channel your questions through them, and the answers are just as good as ours over here. So you have nothing to fear. You have nothing to be concerned about.
Okay.
Over to you, Mom.
Final remarks. If you're looking at a general application, now is the best time to make application. We are like at the peak period of a general application starts. You want to ensure that you provide all your documents on time. And please reach out to your assigned advisor to guide you through the process. We do not have a service charge for the UK. Other destinations, yes, we might have some form of service charge for other destinations, but for the UK, it's completely free. And then I wish you all the best. January intake is just like 2 months away. That's enough time for you to start an application, make your payments, apply for your visa, do everything. For UK application, it's very straightforward. You can achieve it within a month, 2 months, 3 months. You can achieve your next academic plan. So why not
Thank you.
use Geston?
Thank you so much, Ma. And just to add to that, even as we close out, I don't think I mentioned this. For UK applications, Geston Education, we do not charge a service fee. So your application process, your visa, we do it all for free. We're not charging an application fee for that. So you have nothing to worry about. Thank you everyone for making our time to join today's session. I trust that it has been insightful. I trust that you've gotten something. I trust that your questions have been answered and you have better information to make a decision regarding your international education. Thank you everyone for making our time. Thank you once again, Ma. Thanks to Victor as well for making our time to join. Do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Hey, my name is Judith. I'm from Nigeria. I want to thank Geston Education for making my study abroad dream a reality. As you can see, I'm currently at in front of my school, Ulster University, Birmingham. Geston Education made this happen. From start to finish, Geston Education held me by the hand from choosing the right course based on my career and my future goals. They made this happen, all to the point of me getting to UK. I want to thank Geston Education. Thank you very much, Geston, to the entire Geston team. Thank you very much. And I highly recommend Geston Education to anyone. Thank you. Bye.
My name is John. I recently relocated to the United Kingdom. I can boldly say this could be possible because I used Geston Education. Geston Education made my application smooth. They did everything for me from the beginning, from the aspects of sorting schools, applying to schools, securing discounts and scholarship to apply for my visa and people getting a visa. And they did everything for me and it was very easy and smooth. I got the admission, I got the visa, I got everything. Much thanks to Geston for this opportunity. God really used them for me. And I can boldly recommend Geston Education for anyone who wants to study outside the country. This is a recommended, trusted, and endorsed booklet. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Judith. I'm from Nigeria. I want to thank Geston Education for making my study abroad dream a reality. As you can see, I'm currently at in front of my school, Ulster University, Birmingham. Geston Education made this happen. From start to finish, Geston Education held me by the hand from choosing the right course based on my career and my future goals. They made this happen, all to the point of me getting to UK. I want